Hey guys, it's Yorkie here with some Project Cars gameplay, and today we have got a 1 hour long endurance race around the Nordschleife Nurburgring circuit in GT3 and GT4 cars. Just quickly though, before I actually get into the race, down in the description below are two links, one to the official Project Cars forums. Get yourself signed up to that if you haven't already, get involved with the community, get talking about the game. If you have any bug reports, take a look and basically see if there's any fixes that you have, or if not, post a separate thread, and also just basically keep up to date with what's going on in the game and things that are planned for the future. The other is a link to the Gentlemen's Club sign up thread. So if you're looking to join us in these kind of races, take a look and read the first post in that thread. It'll tell you all the procedures and everything that you'll need to do with all the instructions to get yourself signed up to the Gentlemen's Club. At the moment it is PC only, but we will be doing, hopefully, we will be doing consoles in the future as well. Anyway, on to the actual racing. As you can see, I'm starting near the back and I'm not actually going anywhere. That's because my wheel is for some reason disconnected. It doesn't seem to be working at all. I don't have any throttle or brake and there's no steering input. So the reason why I'm looking around is because I'm looking all over the wheel, making sure that everything's plugged in the back, which it was. It's a little bit weird. But yeah, just quickly, as I now disappear underneath my desk to unplug the wheel and then plug it in, you'll hear it just there. There we go. We've got a 10 lap race. The time acceleration is at 25% and the weather was set to real weather settings. So this 10 lap race and the time progression should do a full 24-hour day and night cycle in that time. I have got the entire race included in this video and I will be dropping in and out of commentary. So now that we're actually underway, I've got to try and catch back up to the back of the GT3 field. Basically the way that we designed to run it is we're going to do a short formation lap leading up towards Flugplatz. Once we get up there, up to the hill, which is basically the first, after the first short straight, we're going to go racing. And it's meant to be the GT3 cars at the front and then the GT4 cars behind the last GT3 car. As you can see, I've just caught back up to the rear of the GT4 field. Three Genettas here, and I'm basically now going to sit on the back of the first GT3 car that I find, which is this R8 in front of me. So here we are starting to form up in a 2x2 formation, as once we get up to the top of this hill we will be going racing. There was no green call, it was purely basically down to the pole sitter's discretion. As soon as he basically jumps on the accelerator, everyone else can. So we're basically waiting for the cars in front of us to jump on the accelerator, which they do at the top of the hill here, immediately gaining position over the R8. I think it was a little bit slow on the start. It was a little bit of a grey area as to when exactly we were racing, as there is no start finish line. However, we are going for it now, and you can see we're right behind the roof in front of us, and you can see the pack of cars up ahead as well, all getting bunched up. It's a very, very long race. 1 hour, just over that in fact, was the time that we actually spent. Obviously 10 laps around Nordschleife. It is an endurance race, so you've got to sit it out for the long run. You've just got to be patient. And it looks like I've got a fairly decent run coming out of the exit of that right-handed hairpin there, trying to slide up alongside the roof. There was a little bit of contact there, which is why I did back out. I didn't want to put us both into the wall, but I don't think he saw me coming. And as you can see down in the bottom right, my tyre indicators are showing that I am on cold tyres at the moment, as the Z4 spins over onto the left-hand side of the track there. So yeah, all four tyres have now gone cold. I've got the temperatures up in the Motec display there as well, behind the wheels, so I'm going to sit and watch those and basically wait for the tyre temperatures to come up to temperature, as we got a slow R8 on the right hand side of the circuit there. So we're gaining a couple of positions here and there as we catch up to the rear of this very long train of cars. And yeah, we started the race at 4 PM in game time, and obviously with time acceleration at 25%, we're going to cycle into the evening and then through dawn and out the other side back into the day as well. So we're going to have varying temperatures throughout the entire duration of this race. At the moment it is getting cooler, so trying to maintain tyre temperatures and pressures will be a bit more difficult. I have set up the car with my own custom setup to basically try and aim for consistency and set it up for both the day and also the night. Try and get good performance in both main sections of the race. And you can see just so many cars so closely packed together. All of us being fairly cautious. Obviously we all know it's a long race, we're just taking it fairly steady and basically just waiting for other people to make mistakes more than anything, or any passing opportunities, as it looks like the R8 has taken a little bit of a lunge down the inside of the R8 in front of him. However, he knew it was his fault when they made contact and he's backed out of it again. And like I said earlier, the GT4 cars were meant to start together. However, there was a little bit of a mix-up in the formation lap, and here you can see one of those GT4 cars who was running in amongst the field of GT3s. I believe there's 5 GT4s altogether. All of them were in Ginettas. And it looks like this Audi is being fairly slowed down the straight. So going to slide past him, and then here's the 5th GT4 car here on the outside, rubbing up against the barrier. So we're gaining a few positions already on this lap, mainly through people making mistakes. A couple of cars obviously being in the wrong place. Not that it was really anyone's fault. And then we have had a couple of actual overtakes. But we are now up into P16, as it looks like there's a couple of cars who've gone deep into the carousel. You want to make sure you get down into the dip. As you can see, you lose quite a fair amount of time being up on that top banking there. And we've managed to slip past that Aston Martin. We gave it plenty of room on the exit of the carousel, and he's tucked in behind me. So we're now up into P15 with a roof between me and the R8 that I was sitting on the rear of for a fairly large portion of the first half of the lap. Just taking it fairly easy through here. I know the tyre temperatures aren't quite there yet, although it's showing green for 3 of the tyres. It's not until they're about 85 degrees up to the high 90s I'm actually comfortable in the tyres, and that I find for me that they're providing the grip that I would like. So just trying to be smooth, trying to be fairly steady, waiting for those temperatures to come up through these sequence of corners. And obviously with the cooler conditions, the sun getting lower, the air temperature and track temperature will drop, which will make it harder to maintain those tyre pressures and those tyre temperatures. As it looks like 1 or 2 cars are making a couple of mistakes here and there. A few of us having to back out, having to go a little bit defensive to the Aston Martin behind me, as it looks like we've had a spinner coming over that jump there. A couple of cars having to slow down, one of them obviously pirouetting around, a couple of cars having to slow down to avoid him, but we've managed to slip through and now up into 12th place. However, we have now got to deal with some low-lying sun. It's ducked off behind the trees there, but the sun has now dropped lower and into the windscreen of the cars, dropped lower than the edge of the roof. I keep trying to say the name of the car in front. The edge of the roof of the car, and also below the sun visor that has a sponsorship sign on it. And we're now coming down the straight. So I was hoping to get a good run coming out the exit of that corner to try and get a good slipstream and a good tow down this long straight here, and see if we can close up to the roof that's in front of me. However, he is also in the slipstream of an SLS in front of him, so he's using that to his advantage. And there you can see him pulling out of the tow to slingshot himself past. And the tyre temperatures are dropping down the straight there, as you can see on the Motec display as we come into the braking zone here. And the SLS has got a horribly wrong. This braking is a little bit too late. It's gone straight on across those corners, as it somehow has managed to avoid making contact with both myself and also the roof in front of me. And he's going to slip back in between. So now we've got to try and build the temperatures back up a little bit through this sequence of corners before the next fairly straight section of road. There you can see the low-lying sun. Unfortunately, has gone ducked off behind the trees, and I'm on the outside of the SLS of Mohammed. We call him Mo. He's been with the TGC for quite a long time. He's also a subscriber of mine as well. So we're going to sit on the back of him, see if we can get a good run coming out the exit of here up towards Fliplatz. And the exit is fairly good. Looks like we're closing up on him a little bit. Obviously he's sat right in the slipstream now as well. However, his SLS, the horsepower of the engine is fairly quick, and he's sat right in the middle of the road as well, so it's giving me absolutely no opportunity whatsoever to try and slip past. So I'm going to be a little bit more cautious through Flugplatz there, and as we come down along this more straighter, faster section of the circuit, having to lift off. He's gone and actually braked into this very fast left-hander here over the crest, which is exactly what I did not want him to do. It took me by surprise a little bit, and I had to jump on my brakes myself to avoid making contact with him, which did send me a little bit deep into the corner. Otherwise, I think there may have been a possibility for a move on into the braking zone of the right-hander that followed that very fast left-handed bend. You can see Mo braking fairly late coming into these sequence of corners. Not quite able to hook up the apexes, get the right apex speed. Getting a fairly decent run. He's trying to 4 cars at the moment. I'm sat right in the middle of it. Obviously you can see there's a couple of cars up in front of us as well. And then beyond that we've got about another 7 somewhere up ahead in the distance. But yeah, slowly working our way through the field. And I think I'm going to rest my voice for a tiny bit. Like I said at the start of the video, I'll be dropping in and out of commentary for this. So I think I'll let you guys enjoy the car sounds for a little bit. So that was another position just gained there then. As you probably saw, there was a rough part on the exit of, or on the outside, sorry, of that right-handed hairpin. Having a look at it up ahead, it looked like basically the two just went in side by side, and the one on the outside ran a little bit deep onto the grass and ended up rotating himself around. I don't think there was any contact between the two, but it's given us a free position, and it's allowed us to catch up to the rear of the roof that managed to survive. As we come into my favourite section of the track after the carousel, maybe being a little bit slow, being a little bit cautious on the accelerator coming through that right hand hairpin. I've got the Doctor 46 out of my tail, and he's been getting very, very close in a number of points, a number of braking zones and corners. Like there, you can see he's right on my rear bumper. Most of us have got our lights on at the moment as well, however the Doc doesn't. Which is a little bit odd, and it is making it a little bit more difficult for myself to actually see him in my mirrors and also in that rear view camera and the monitor display in the centre console. There's Mo. Once again, it's a little bit slower than I would have liked him to have been. Come on Mo, you gotta go a little bit faster, mate. I think he's struggling a little bit with temperatures, and I think he also may have had a little bit of damage as well. So he runs pretty wide through that right-hander there. Basically just got to follow him through. I know that the long straight is coming, and that's probably going to be my best opportunity to pass him unless he makes a fairly significant mistake and I get a good run coming out of the corner, which will allow him to slip up past. But judging by people's driving so far, most people are in it for the long run and not pushing 100%. So obviously it is a very, very long race. We're already coming up to 15 minutes into the race, and we're only into the latter part of the second lap. We've still got another 7 whole laps to go. We've got Z4 there running off wide into the gravel on the exit of that corner, so we can give him plenty of room. slip past him and he joins the back of this train. Actually, I think he believes he slips in between the R8 behind me of the Doctor and the Aston Martin that was on the rear of this group. But anyway, we're now onto the fast straight, which I was hoping to get a good exit out of that corner, which I believe we have done. It looks like we're closing up in the slipstream as well, so we're going to pull out in front of him. See a slight bit of jittering from Mo's car there, making it a little bit difficult to judge his position. Obviously, with the airflow flowing over both cars now, I've lost the slipstream that I had. The aero balance has equalised, and the difference in speed between the two corners has dropped, and it looks like I'm not going to be able to slip past prior to the braking zone to this corner here. Getting up onto the grass there, getting very, very close. Mo's doing the same. There's also actually gone and lost the rear end of the car and speeding off to the right hand side of the circuit. Just about managed to avoid making contact with him. So that was very unfortunate, but it now means I've got a little bit of clear air in front of me. The Doctor's now also turned on his lights, which is great. I can now actually see him in my rear view mirror as he's looking to slip past me on the left there. However, there isn't really much room coming down through here. This right hander is very, very quick, and it's pretty difficult with just one car at the best of times. So two cars is very, very dangerous unless both guys are very, very respectful of each other. So we're now going to try and push a little bit, bring these temperatures back up, hopefully, before the next straighter section of the circuit where the tyres will drop again, which is around here, and see if we can actually close up to the car in front of me. Just flicking through a couple of the Motec displays there, just making sure, double checking to see how much fuel I got, the lap time that I did on the previous lap, just looking to see how well things are going. And you can see is starting to eke out a little bit of a gap now to Doc 46, who's behind me. However, he is closing a tiny bit up in the slipstream, and that's how I usually like to take the corners. Basically, just lift off. Once you come over the crest and the car compresses down, we can get back on the accelerator. Rear end of the car stepping out a tiny bit through that right hander, sorry. Struggling with my English as it seems. I'm now going to go quiet again, I think, and let you guys enjoy some more car sounds through the next section of the circuit. So you can see we're quite visibly closing the gap up to the guys in front. We had a couple of small moments where the rear end of the car was breaking traction in the braking zones, getting a little bit loose, but nothing too major as the rough goes and spins off into the barrier on the right hand side there. That means he's probably going to suffer a fair amount of damage, I imagine. He's going to give me, and also the Doc, who sat right on my rear bumper, a free position. And as you can see, obviously we are getting into the night now. It's getting very, very dark. And we're closing up on the Aston in front of me as he shoots some very nice flames out those side exhausts, coming through that fast left-hander. Running wide in a couple of places. At least he's managed to keep the car straight. So I was looking down the inside there, but there was no real room for him to actually slide past and get up alongside my car. So I'm just going to take my usual racing line. As he gets very, very close once again, coming into the dip of the carousel. You can see the car in front of us bouncing around as he takes the bumps. And again, he's so very close to the rear of my car. He's really trying to apply the pressure, hoping that I'll make a mistake. Whilst obviously I'm sat waiting patiently for the Aston in front to make a mistake. Had a little bit of a look down the inside there, but you can see the door was shutting fairly rapidly, and had to obviously sit on the brakes a little bit more to avoid making contact with him again there as well. Taking those curves fairly nicely. And just sitting and patiently waiting for the perfect opportunity to try and make an overtaking manoeuvre. Obviously I have no idea how far up ahead the next car is. Once we get past this Aston, obviously I'm not running with the track map, I can't actually see any headlights or tail lights up in front, not yet anyway. As we do that little jump into this double right-hander. The Aston getting a horrible, horrible line coming through that left-hander there. As you can see, just to the last lap, only 1.1 seconds faster. So we're pretty consistent at the moment in terms of lap times. Obviously we've had traffic as well. It's made a little bit of a difference. Always had a car in front of me pretty much, apart from the earlier part of this lap where I was running in some clear air. So here we are trying to get a good run coming out the exit of this corner, then onto the start finish straight, onto this long straight. Now trying to pick up the slipstream. Looks like we've built a tiny bit of a gap to the Dr. 46 behind us, but he's obviously going to be in the slipstream as well, so we will close back up. This Aston mine doesn't have anything in front of me, so I'm going to pull out from alongside him. As the Doc momentarily turns off his lights there for some reason. Yeah, hoping to slide past the Aston Martin, which is what we have done. Now clearly in front. So should have the braking zone here quite easy, all nice to myself, and it looks like the Doctor has had to tuck back in behind the Aston Martin. So hopefully we're going to see if we can try and build a little bit of a gap now to Doc, who was hounding me a fair amount. So hopefully we can pull away from him. As you can see, tyre temperatures have gone way down, especially on that left front. It's now gone up a little bit in that left-hander. So I mean, the right front is quite low. It's about 59 degrees when going into that right-hander, and you'll see them climb coming through this sequence of corners as the car gets very loose over the bumps. You see the tyre temperatures as well not being where I want them to. Is not helping either. We have got a fairly slowish car up ahead. That is the car of Elmo, the driver who a lot of you say in the comments section on my videos sounds a lot like Sebastian Vettel, which I did tell him. They did laugh, and I can see it as well. I kind of agree. It almost sounds like a young Sebastian Vettel. But yeah, I believe he had a bit of a moment somewhere, and I believe he is also taking damage as well, which is why we're closing on him at a fairly rapid pace. And also see on the horizon, sun is starting to very slowly creep up. The sky is getting lighter. The Elmo's gone off there out wide and into the barrier. I was going to sit quiet for a little bit, but he went wide, and I managed to slip past him now. And I believe he's also slipped past or dropped down another couple of positions as well. So now again I've got a little bit more clear air in front of me. I'm going to see if I can try and push to close up to the next car, which is just about 4.5 seconds up the road. Coming into the hairpin, the rear end of the car getting very, very loose and going straight into the wall. Slamming on the brakes, so basically just trying to sit on the inside, let the cars go past. And we've got a gap of about 12 seconds, but it's now reducing to Mo, so we've plenty of time there to get the car turned back around. And I'm now also going to suffer some damage. As you can see, the car wheel is turned off to the right by about 20 degrees or so. Just going to make it a little bit more interesting through the rest of the lap. Probably have to do a pit stop at the end to repair that, as I don't particularly want to be driving it for the next 5.5 laps. Was there an unfortunate mistake there by myself. I think I just braked a little bit too late, and obviously rode the brakes coming through that right-hander. All the weight on the front wheels, rear wheels braking traction, and then just wanting to spin round. And obviously with the tight, very enclosed walls of the Nordschleife, they will punish you for the smallest of mistakes, and punish me it did. So I can tell already the damage is a little bit more than just the steering being offset. One of the wheels isn't quite right. I'm not quite getting the full speed that I had before. Also, I've gone back to the default screen on the Motec display to watch that oil temperature. As you can see, it is climbing. If it goes above 110, I'm in serious trouble. That's basically anything beyond that number, the engine can overheat and blow up. So I know I've got radiator damage, as the temperature is climbing a fairly significant rate whilst I'm on the accelerator on full gas. More so than previously. Obviously when I'm off the accelerator it does help to cool the engine down a little bit. And as you can see, we've caught back up to Elmo as well, who's got quite substantial damage, I believe more than myself, which is why he is very, very slow. He's just kind of limping back towards the pits. As you can see, I'm kind of fairly eager to get past. Don't want to lose too much time behind him. So basically I've just been waiting for this long straight coming up to slip past him. It's going to be my best opportunity, it's going to be the safest opportunity as well. And as you can see, the sky is getting a little bit brighter too. The sun is starting to come up higher into the sky. And now I've got the slipstream of Elmo. Obviously now pulled out. Hopefully we're going to be able to creep past with our damaged cars going side by side. There we go. Slipped up in front of him. There you can see suffering pretty badly on the damage terms. I've dropped about 10 miles an hour down the long straight, so I've hit my request pit button. I'm going to pull into the pits on this lap and get that damage repaired. There's no point in carrying on with it, as I'll just lose too much time. Quickly edit the tyre pressures there. As I know we're going into the day, I can afford to run the tyre pressures up a little bit higher. And the pit stops not quite fully finished yet, as it didn't take too long to fix the damage there. Tyre's also fairly cold, and a little bit of an awkward camera angle with the tracker, so quickly reset that and we are back underway again. The car feels fairly good. Obviously got a brand new set of tyres on as well, so that should provide us some extra grip. So we're down in P8 and we've got Mo just up ahead. It's about 4 seconds, so he's lost a fairly substantial amount of time. I'm guessing he probably had 1 or 2 more small incidents. Also with the damage as well, it's probably not helping his race pace. Just come through Flugplatz and out the other side. Just trying to get the tyre temperatures back up to a good operating temperature. It's places like this, fairly straight sections, which will cool them down. You can see them there dropping on the Motec display. The left should now go up, and now the right should have gone up, and now the left will go up as well. Running a little bit deep into that right-hander there. Not quite getting the apex as tight as I would have liked to, but still we're catching Mo up ahead at a fairly rapid rate, and soon we're going to have the sun blinding our eyes once again as it's starting to creep up above the trees. You can see the God rays coming through. There is, just peering over the hills and the horizon. I'm in a little bit of a moment there. Had a scraping with the wall, as you saw. However, I managed to get away with that without taking any damage, as far as I know anyway. It was a fairly light scrap, but hopefully things will be okay and we'll be able to carry on without making another stop. Added a little bit of a cheeky look down the inside of Mo. He shut the door on me pretty quick though, so I had to jump on the brakes, and I'd gone and lost the rear end of the car again and smashed into the wall. And once again I've gone and suffered more damage, pretty much identical to the last time as well. The wheel is veered off to the right by about 20 degrees. And I've got Elmo, who made a pit stop with me right behind. He's closed the gap up to us. So I'm trying to decide once again whether it is worth pitting. Should be okay, providing I'm not losing too much speed down the long straight. As this I can kind of deal with as I get very, very high up onto the curb, which does send the left hand side of the car high up into the air as we come over that crest. And over the jump you can see Elmo has got a much better run and is closed right up onto the rear bumper of my car. And very, very close there under the braking. He'll probably slip past me coming down this long straight just after these next couple of corners. So here comes Elmo then, sliding down my outside. You can see the speed difference. I am well under the speed that I would like to be doing. Usually I'll be up into the mid 170s, 170 odd miles an hour, so I'm going to have to pit again. So I'm just so slow, I'm just going to lose so much time. The car getting very sideways again. Just about managing to catch it under the braking. Without spinning, and just making a quick adjustment to the fuel there. Going to use the same tyre pressures as set on the previous lap.
There's an engine battery failure, we're working on it, I'll get back to you.
And that's not good. That's going to delay the pit stop even more. Hopefully we won't delay us for too long. You can see there me losing a couple of positions, and now we get going. So we've lost a few in that pit stop. Now down in P12. And there's a car there coming down the inside. I got a little bit distracted by that and immediately go into the barrier. And I can't quite tell at this point whether I suffered more damage or not, or whether it's okay. Looks like it should be okay. It's more of a side-on impact rather than frontal or diagonal. See, probably coming out the exit of this corner here. See just how straight the wheel is. It looks like there may be a tiny bit of offset, but it's minimal. It's fine. We can deal with that. And we're just going to go with it. I can't be asked to do any more pit stops. Car getting very, very sideways through that left-handed kink. I'm going to use a little bit of opposite lock to try and keep the rear end in check somewhat. Managing to get away with it. It did also cost me the apex for the following corner. And we got the roof of Sirius Lee up ahead. We'll see if we can try and get past him sometime soon. We've got a gap of 14 seconds to the car behind, so plenty of room there behind us. So I was going to say that it looked like there was a bit of a battle there forming between the three of us. However, Mo did go and run off wide onto the grass, which is going to gift myself and also seriously a position. And I'm hoping now with that long straight just a couple of corners away that I can line myself up for a good run down that straight and slipstream myself past to gain another position. So here's hoping for a good exit. It looks like Sirius Lee has taken a fairly good line, although he's gone a little bit wide there. So he probably wouldn't have been as hard on the throttle as I would have been coming out for the exit. So picking up that slipstream now. Hopefully this should give us enough of a run to slide past without too much of an issue. See us closing. Gonna pull out, come alongside in this left-hander, but that aero balance is equalising once again. The speed differential between the two cars has dropped. I'm on the inside here. I'm not entirely sure where he is. There he is, sliding behind me, so he's going to give me the position coming into the braking zone here. It's very, very difficult to run too wide coming into the braking there, as there are a couple of small corners. It's not a straight braking zone. Obviously you try and take it as straight as possible when you're by yourself, but going too wide you have to follow the curvature and the flow of the circuit, which is pretty hard to do when you're on the brakes trying to get the car slowed down. But either way, we're up as position, and it also looks like we're getting a couple of positions over people in the pit lane as well. So we're up into P9. P8 is 5 seconds up the road. So with this newer set of tyres, with tyre pressures that should be pretty much roundabout optimal roundabout now, and are kind of more set towards running in daylight with daytime temperatures, as I believe we're probably roughly nearing midday, roughly around there. This should give us very, very good performance and a good opportunity to try and close the gap to the car in front. That's providing we don't make any more mistakes. So you can see we're closing fairly significantly to the Z4 up in front of us. We've also pulled out a bit of a gap to seriously behind, just hovering around the 2-second mark. So as you can see, we've seriously closed up to the back of Nato, the Z4 in front of us. Seriously, who's behind us, we've eked out a gap to him, it's hovering around the 2-second mark. Hopefully we'll be able to dispatch the Z4 fairly quickly. Should probably be once again down the long straight. It's usually the best place to pass, as this section offers very little opportunity to actually overtake unless you've got a substantial performance difference over the other person, or they make a mistake. Taking those bumps and that jump into that double right-hander pretty well there. Avoid the curb on the inside here if we can, which we do. The Z4 is going to run off very, very wide down the exit of the mini carousel, which is allowing me to slip past before the long straight. And we've now got Miyagi up in front. However, he looks like he's going fairly slow. I think he's suffered some significant damage. You can see there down on the delta timing on the bottom left, we're closing at a very, very rapid rate. You can actually see him there up on the left hand side of the straight as well, is running fairly slow. And that Z4 has just got a massive toe on me. It's going to slip back past. I was not expecting that whatsoever. It's just gone and taken the position back, which completely took me by surprise. Z4 tends to be a little bit slower down in the straight line, especially when compared to the likes of the Aston, the R8. So it's completely caught off guard there. But I'm guessing he set his car up for that straight. Obviously lowered the wings, and adjusted the final drive to allow for more top speed. We've got a good run coming out of those sequence of corners there. We should be able to slip up onto his outside. It's not really worth going side by side through Flugplatz. There on his outside now, I managed to step past him and take that fairly cleanly, fairly smoothly. It gave me plenty of room there, so I decided to take it. And now, although he's going to have the slipstream here, we've also got the roof joining up behind us as well, by the looks of it. There's another car there anyway, just joined in the battle. I was going to say, although we would have had to slipstream there, I wanted to try and make the car as wide as possible to stop him getting past, because then I'll probably be faster through this sequence of corners, and hopefully I'll be able to increase the gap and see if we can start pressing and closing the gap to Tony, who is, as you can see, about 13 seconds up the road from me. Now make that 12 and a bit. Yeah, still about 13 seconds, so we've got a bit of a task for us coming into the last part of the race. Let's see if we can just take this fairly cleanly and smoothly. I don't want any more mistakes. I don't want to throw the car away, I don't want to throw this position away. This is the best that I've been in for quite a while now. So, although I know that I can be faster in a number of corners than what I'm actually doing at the moment, Just obviously playing it a little bit safe, taking each one as it comes to make sure that I stay on track. I can actually finish the race. So, as you can see by the delta times, we have closed it up a little bit more to Tony in front of us. We've got to get down to around about 9 seconds now. And I can't remember exactly what happened to the cars behind, but Elmo has managed to get past. I think they may have made a mistake, as Elmo is 14 seconds behind me. So, yeah. It's just more other people shifting, changing positions. The sun is starting to come back down again now. We've basically done a full 24-hour cycle already, and we've still got one full lap to go. So it's a little bit over 24 hours. We will start to see the sunset, or we will see the sunset, shall I say, by the time that we finish this race. And as you can see, sector time to my fastest lap is only 3/10, and we are coming towards the end of the Nordschleife circuit as we get a little bit sideways coming into the entry of that corner. Obviously, track and air temperature dropping, and also running on the same tyres that I was running on earlier. Grip level starting to reduce on those. GT tyres can last quite a long time. You can do a full 10 laps around the Nordschleife on one set of soft slicks. I did it in practice. Obviously, however, with the change in temperatures, pressure's moving up and down a little bit. A tyre grip isn't always quite optimal, and you will lose some in the odd place or two. And as you can see, the gap down to Tony is now 7.3 seconds, hanging around there. And the gap to Elmo has gone up to 17 seconds, so we closed a little bit more on Tony, and we pulled away a little bit more from Elmo, as we're now coming into the last couple of corners to this lap and into the final lap. And there it is again, the sun getting very, very low as it does start to set. So there is then only half a second difference between that last lap and my fastest lap. One thing that I found is that I was able to be very, very consistent with this setup. I'll actually post a link to it, to that specific setup, in the description below. Found it to be very, very consistent. It's kind of a good all-round day and night sort of setup. Suffers a little bit in the middle of the night and also in the peak of the day as well, but it's very, very good around the dawn and dusk sort of times. That's where I found it very, very easy to manage. Had good grip. Managed to nullify a lot of the mid-corner understeer that the Aston Martin suffers from. Had some good straight line speed, maintaining some of that good initial turn-in that the Aston does have as well, and also the good responsiveness that it has. So picking that corner up pretty nicely. Temperatures on the left hand side looking fairly good. I would have liked them to be a little bit higher, but obviously with the cooling conditions, as ever, tyre pressures and temperatures will not quite be where you would like them to. So the gap to Tony is 5 seconds, just over. You probably can tell I'm trying to push fairly hard. I want to see if I can try and grab this 6th position by the end of the lap. As you can see there, 9/100ths of a second to my fastest lap. Talking about consistency. That's pretty consistent considering the length of the circuit, the number of corners, the ample opportunities to make a mistake. Run that a little bit wide, a little bit too deep, a little bit too tight, not using quite all the speed on the exit. Just all those things. Just knocking time from your lap time. However, I am managing to keep it consistent. So far, anyway. Get a little bit too close to the curb on the inside there. Turned in a tad too early. It's going to cost me a little bit of momentum through that right-hander. As you can see, the gap to Tony has now gone up to 6 seconds. I think what he initially did, I think he just settled down a fair bit and backed off. Obviously the gap went down from 14 seconds when we initially moved up into 7th position a couple of laps ago. I think he basically settled down, backed off a little bit. Now that the gap is getting around the 5 seconds mark, he's starting to push again. And it seems like we're pretty evenly paced. I'm not entirely sure what car he's in right now, so I can't really make any comparison on that, as obviously all the cars in GT3, although perform overall fairly similar, they do have their individual handling traits. They do suit certain tracks and certain sections of tracks better than others. Slam it down into the carousel. Getting a pretty good exit. I found that I was bogging down a fair bit in second gear, so the race leader has now gone and finished the race. It's just going to give us 300 seconds, which is about 5 minutes, I believe, to finish the race. So we've got plenty of time, considering the laps are usually around the 6:50 mark. Running a little bit wide there, but I'm not having to fight the car too much, managing to get away with it quite nicely. And there's the rear end of the car, steps out there. We slide out wide, but get away with it. Again, the rear end of the car there as well, also breaking traction. You can see every now and then just coming through the corners. Smoke coming from the tyres. Coming up in that rear view mirror and also the side mirrors again there as well. Car sliding wide. I think I'm starting to lose a fair amount of tyre pressure at the moment, because obviously I set them quite high, just mainly aimed at the race. Things did go a little bit slower, as in testing it didn't quite get to this level. Actually, I think it did get down to this sort of level in terms of the time of day, how low the sun is. However, I was still on the original set of tyres that I started with, which were set up for these kind of conditions, so the tyre pressures were a little bit lower than what I am currently running. And there you can see Tony has gone and pulled a bit more of a gap to myself through that section. Obviously me sliding around probably wouldn't have helped, but he's gone and got the gap up to about 7.5 seconds. There you can see him just about up in the distance, coming down this long straight. The gap to Elmo has now gone up to 28 seconds, so I think he may have made a mistake here or there. Don't think there is that much of a difference between myself and Elmo in terms of race pace. He is fairly quick, as are a lot of the TGC members. We've had a lot of new guys come in as well. It's been pretty impressive racing amongst them, how clean they drive, how fast some of them are. Just a little bit sideways into the braking zone, but a little bit of opposite lock counters that. Coming around the final corner, and we are going to finish there over the line to take 7th position. Just having a quick look at the fastest laps. So the fastest lap that I did was a 6:47.1. You can see Tony's done a 6:46, and Jet Pistol and the McLaren who came first did a 6:40, which is a crazy lap time. But he does run with basically zero downforce, so he does have an awful lot of speed down the straights, and he basically sets up his car for that, and also the corners as well. That, and he's a very, very quick driver. So you can see the Dr. 46 in 4th position. He must have had a fairly good, clean race. If I didn't spin on lap 4, that's kind of where I was hoping I would have come. is in and around him and would have liked to have carried on battling. But even still, a very good race. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. Please give a rating. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them down below. And obviously, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content in the future. Also, check out in the description those links to the car setup, the Project Cars official forums. Get yourself signed up to that and get involved. And also, if you are looking to join the Gentleman's Club, take a look at that link. Follow the instructions in that first post. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Until next time, take care.